We'll be beginning to Chris Jarmick, who is our featured poet tonight, who has the book trade over in Kirkland, who has been involved in promoting poetry for decades, who is someone who owns one of my paintings, who has my artwork on one of his books. Who tiptoes, who has all of these fantastic poem starters. Please welcome Chris Jarmick.
Wait, I want to be a tight rope walker.
Okay.
Balancing precariously high above the crowd. I want to be a tight rope walker, juggling, almost falling. But you would expect that from a tight rope walker. So I'll be a poet instead.
As Chris reads, I'm going to go around with the big of giving. All monies in here will go to Chris to support the book tree.
Hello everybody, good to be back here again. Poem starter 7,777. Remember, the rabbit's foot wasn't so lucky for the bunny. Poem starter 257. I tell too much, but you miss the point. So I must tell too little. Saying things. Let's say I begin by telling you something pretty crazy, something I've never told anyone ever before, and you listen and connect, not because what I tell you is something that has happened to you or something you thought about, but just because crazy things have happened to you and you admire the fact that I trust you enough to share with you something pretty crazy that I've never shared with anyone else. Let's say, Robinson, as I open my mouth to begin to tell you something pretty crazy that I've never told anyone else, I realized I couldn't really tell you what I was about to tell you because that thing is just too personal, too private, and it's pretty crazy too. So I switch what I was going to tell you so that I don't hurt your feelings or make things really awkward by saying, oh no, come to think of it, I can't tell you that. Let's say you don't realize I've told you something not quite so crazy as the thing I've never told anyone before, and you and I become pretty good friends, develop a deep rapport that grows into a friendship, that kind of friendship where the other person can do and say pretty much anything without being judged. A relationship based on trust and unspoken understanding and affinity. And then I decide that I should tell you what I've never told anyone else. Let's say as I begin to tell you something pretty crazy, something I've never told anyone else before, that I realize I absolutely must not tell you this because I value your friendship, our trust, and pseudo-honesty, and I don't want to do anything that might change that. And telling you about this bit of craziness might alter things, might make things shift, and I don't want that to happen. Woo! Coney Island of grass leaves. Springs sprung up bursting with limericks and a canto. Grab a rhyme partner, do-si-do, just in time to the metrical-minded performance center on Tetrameter Boulevard, between the Villanelle Bakery and Sonnet Suds Laundromat. Compose a quatrain in the Abecedarian Ballad Bakery. Hang up your haiku, take off your elegy, stay a while, and enjoy some couplets and pantoums. Gazzle, sestina, tankas, toss off a strophe, mind your stanzas, breathe in a free verse, breathe out an actual Welsh bard's lullaby. Yeah. Stir. Give sorrow words, said Shakespeare. Scream into your final draft until your writing voice is hoarse. And then as you revise and edit yet again, marvel at how powerful the work becomes Better Than a Gun poem. When I pull the trigger on this poem, the words will hit their target without any innocent bystanders being hurt. It is superior to the gun. The words might be misconstrued and ricochet, but no one will be rushed to the hospital. If someone intoxicated shouts these words at shoppers in the mall, or towards cars driving by, or at students in a school cafeteria, no blood will be spilled. When this poem is left out on the kitchen table, and it is touched by a curious child, no tragedy will result. It is superior to the gun.
All right.
Here, here. So do you mind if I bribe you? Audience, do you mind if I bribe you?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to give away a gift certificate to Booktree. Or, I mean, you could also use it if you want to buy my book tonight. You could also use it. But I want to give you this gift certificate. So I'm going to ask a question. And wait till I finish the question and look up. And then I'll call on you. And if you get the right answer, you get this. Dwayne, you can't play. I know. Caroline, you can't play. Robinson, I'll let you know. What book of poetry, published by Lawrence Ferlinghetti, is one of the most banned books and sparked an obscenity trial in the late 1950s? I need the name of the book and the author.
Can I do author only?
Okay, author only.
Carlin, George Carlin?
Nope.
Ginsburg?
Yeah.
Whose birthday is
Howl by Allen Ginsberg. City's Sacristy. I might bribe you some more, so pay attention. City's Sacristy. If I whispered as we walked on the path in Seward Park into the old-growth forest, yes, just south of the city is an old-growth forest, that, you know, this place is sacred, would you stop texting on your goddamn phone? The parakeets of Seward Park. The parakeets of Seward Park, perhaps from Peru, Chapman metered conures, feasting on the big leaf maple flowers of Pinoy Hill, wild, free, watching for red-tailed hawks, raiding nearby suburban bird feeders for gourmet sunflower seeds, dancing on telephone wires with barn swallows, crows, then back into Seward Park, amongst Anna's hummingbirds, woodpecker, song wrens, chickadees, screech owls, and occasional curious poets scratching marks onto tree products about Peruvian transplants giddy in green, green forest. Not a poem about tents. I open, preparing to fill the glass of water past its halfway point, if I'm able. Every once in a while, I do it. Some have seen it. The glass, I mean, more than half filled, and they don't have to wonder. Others don't believe their senses. They trust nothing about life, and by the time they take a closer look, some liquid has evaporated, proving they are not misguided, gullible fools. They know better. So I try again, as if my name were Paul, formerly Saul, a famous tent maker pretending to be a poet. The glass is full, you see. It is full of water and of air. Don't focus on just the waterline. Life is bigger than liquid in a glass. Once a mountain line. Once upon a rhyme, lines fell away from poems into the barks of 1,000-year-old Douglas firs. Just beneath the living bark, the mushroom hummed a forgotten ancient song to the willow flycatcher. Closer to heaven, where the pressure is less, we must breathe deeper. Listen closely. Listen. God is on top of us. Troubles below, miracles in the sky, stars flying by. There are places to disappear here. In some seasons, few will walk these steps. Turn it around like a leaf. Drop it on your stubborn head like a pine cone. Be the first in morning to sing with the robins. Be alert. Pay attention. Everything here fights to survive, to cooperate, to touch each other. Once a line, home jumbled in 1,000 barks of year-old Douglas firs. Sharing breath. In this old-growth forest, I will touch the scarred bark of a 250-year-old giant and look up. I will remember to breathe in deeply, hold my breath a moment, pray the die-off of red cedar, western hemlock recedes, then exhale, and realize I might be giving this wonderful being an unexpected snack. Okay, time for a bribe. Woo-hoo! I'm going to say the question, and then when I look up, if you think you know the answer, raise your hand. When did Walt Whitman die? Long time ago, there you go.
He's not dead.
Not bad. So, okay, what was the name of his famous book, and tell me what state he was born in?
Leaves of Grass, Tennessee. Leaves of Grass.
What state he was born in?
Massachusetts. New York.
Missouri.
Delaware. Iowa.
Washington.
Grace.
I like State of Grace, okay. Actually, he was born in May 31st, 1819 in West Hills, Long Island. And he died March 26, 1892 in Camden, New Jersey. And his book, of course, is Leaves of Grass. Thank you, David. Oh, Grace, you said Grace? Oh, okay. Congrats,
You want to
Alan.
mention that he was a Civil War medic.
Yeah, and he's
Oh,
laid down.
captain, my captain.
That's right. And he laid down on the tracks to stop the war supplies from getting through.
Is that how he died?
No. It was a protest.
How did he die?
That would be terrible.
How did he die?
Just ran out of life, I guess. Not just another dirty poem.
Oh, come on.
Dirt, dirt, decomposing, indulgent dirt. Get the dirt on that do-gooder. He insists dirt gives new life to everything we need, to eat, to breathe. And yet the dirt on dirt is that dirt. Dirt's got a bad rap. Dirty stuff, worse even than dust. Gotta get some dirt on your hands to experience life, my boy. The most popular detergent boasted it was stronger than dirt. Well, I think dirt wins. And it's not better with its alternative name, soil, either. Dirt's been soiled for a long time, and one man's dirt is not always enough. Sometimes you have to dig up more dirt, spread more dirt around. Goes without saying, you don't even need to muddy it up either.
West Hills, New York. Walt Whitman, West Hills, New York.
That's Long Island.
No, not that. I became one man.
Oh, okay. The button. Will this button be tested? Will it effortlessly function, uniting two as one, and its adornment admired? Was it designed for style, shape, color, or cheaply mass-produced, fashion never considered? If it had feelings, would it become dysfunctional, full of silent rage at being taken for granted, neglected, or ignored completely? I am button! This piece of cloth would not work, would never be worn without me. I matter, damn it.
Sounds unzipped.
That's right, don't push our buttons. I wrote this to commemorate when my mom and dad were interred in Connecticut in 2022. It was read at the service by my middle daughter, Natalia. Always with us. There are times I still hear their voices. Mom and I talking old movies, and once in a while wanting to know what happened in the last 10 minutes of a movie because they fell asleep or had some technical problems. Sometimes I knew the ending. I was about to send Mom a book about her beloved Glenn Ford that was written by his son, but she left us suddenly, too soon. Dad and I grew pretty close the last 20 years, and I sometimes flash back to a time when that did not seem possible. The change began after Nana died, his mom, in 1983. He wrote me a note, wrote he was sorry, wanted to have a relationship with me. I thought I did a pretty good job of forgiving him over the next decade, but it wasn't complete. There are many levels of forgiveness, and there will be setbacks. It does lighten the load you carry to forgive, but that's not all of it. There are changes that have to take place, and others might not accept or acknowledge those changes. Change is difficult. Old fears appear, voices from the past scream loudly and don't go away without a fight. But if you work at it, it is possible. Those that won't let you change, won't allow growth, sometimes get left behind. And to forgive yourself, well, sometimes that's hardest of all. My dad never forgave his father. And 6 months before he died, he was surprised to learn that his father had taken me to Yankee games. He knew about a trip to Asbury Park, but didn't know there had been more than one, or that Pop-Up had been so good to me. He was glad I was sharing this with him. He was struggling to find some good in his father, and realized now he had some good to hold on to. Fathers and sons, as complicated as mothers and daughters, maybe more so. I wrote about it, published it, and Dad read the book, asked me questions about it, accepted what I wrote, thanked me for it. There was a poem I wrote that I dedicated to my siblings, my daughters and Mom. It's called My Father Should Know. And when I wrote it, I don't know if he knew, because we don't know what we don't know until we discover something we didn't know, which will lead to knowing a little more about one thing and a little less about something else. I ended that poem, Dad, I'm where I am right now because of you. I write this not to excuse my mistakes by passing blame to you, but to learn how to forgive myself for all the time wasted holding on to things that don't matter, and to let go of all the unnecessary words until the most important ones appear and I can work up the courage to simply say thank you. I love you, Dad. I'm blessed to be your son. And for Mom, who told me a few times in the last few months of her life that she wished she could have been a better mother, wishing for something like that, and telling your son about it, is certainly proof enough she was the mother I needed. And I was very blessed indeed to have had her in my life. She gave and sacrificed far too much of herself, and yet still worried she had not done enough. I love you, Mom. Thank you for being someone worth missing very, very much. Night, Dad. Night, Mom. Sleep tight. Okay, so I had the pleasure, actually all my 3 daughters got married, and I had the pleasure of writing poems for each of their weddings. And this one is to Talia and Justin. Talia is the middle daughter that actually just read this poem at my dad's interment, my mom and dad's interment. So to Talia and Justin on their wedding day, it's called Bless. This light today will bless. These friends around will bless. The sense of food, flowers of vows heartfelt will bless. The stars, the moons, the earth, the air, the water will bless. The beasts, the insects, the fish, the pets will bless. The declaration of love, the hugs, the touches will bless. This union of friends into partners, two as one, as two, and maybe more, bless. When he says, he will be the water rushing down the mountain in spring thaw to fill the pitcher until it overflows. And she says, yes, your patient gardener needs this water for the soil I have worked to give us fragrant flowers and flavorful food that will grow in such abundance we can share it with our neighbors. Bless. When he says, I am the stepping stone, the working latch and hinge on our gate, and she says, I step through with a basket of fruit to set upon the window ledge. Yes, he promises to make you smile, to keep you safe, and you will need him, keep him warm. Bless. In this world of music that too often turns to noise, in this world of light that turns dark, in this world of still that must rush, this world of peace that knows too much war, this world of love that tolerates hate, at the end of storms, let only good in. Lead, follow, guide one another, and always dance. Bless. Poem starter 1902. I am both pro and anti-biotics. Poem starter 1500 BC. I don't have time, nor do I tell time. I ask time gently because I've read somewhere time is sensitive. 12 rejected poetry book titles. Plum Thief by Carolyn Clark. Stubbles by Tom. Hummingbird Decapitations, and I'm afraid that's by Julie. Helen Mirren, Moon's Mona Lisa, and other almost true poetic tales. I think that's true. Word Weights, or Sean Penn's Ashtray. Recumbent Redundancies. Oh, Alex's. Here's Alex's book. Silence of the I Ams. Slippery Slopes, Sinkholes, and Smoke. Peanut butter on the roof of Annette Funicello's mouth. Dwayne's Oblivious Obsessions. The one with the blue cover. Not a poem about sauerkraut. I'm sorry if you don't know boobies, or you have decided you don't like sauerkraut. You might if you try boobies, or if you grew up near an East Coast delicatessen, or had a mom or grandma that made sauerkraut right. Not all sauerkraut is the same. And one of the very best you can buy in stores is from Canada, distributed by a company in Ventura, California. But it tastes of the type I grew up with in New York, and correctly pronounced boobies, slang for boobala, or grandma, because it's grandma's sauerkraut, though west of the Mississippi it's called bubbies. This isn't a commercial, this is a poem, and it really isn't about sauerkraut. There is a song from 1984 by Foreigner called I Want to Know What Love Is. There are better songs, to be sure, but it is a popular one and may now be stuck in your head because I reminded you of it. Sorry about that. It fits here because of where I'm going with this scribble. To live life best, you know you have to do it without embarrassment. Sing as if no one is listening. Dance as if no one is watching. And love as if you have never had your heart broken before. You must be foolish and take the risk and have faith that the one you are with is risking and leaping right along with you. If you are blessed, you'll get everything from subtle hints to loud, ear-piercing shouts that the one you're with loves you as much as you love them. It has to be shared. It has to be reciprocal. And it has to be both very, very easy and very hard. And both of you have to be ready and willing and know its worth and value. One recent example from my Mr. Toad's wild ride of a life just happened. There was a conversation. I said, I need to pay closer attention to my diet. I need to eat a little more broccoli and a few other things. And then she says, does that include eating sauerkraut? If it was a TV sitcom, cue the Danny Thomas spit take. Yes, I used to eat sauerkraut on a regular basis, and I have gotten out of the habit of it. So should someone who loves you make sure you have boobies in your refrigerator? Some of you may still not completely understand all that this means. She knows about sauerkraut being a good, healthy addition to your diet. She knows about the best sauerkraut you can buy from a store on the West Coast. And a few days later, she brought a jar of bubbies to put into my refrigerator. I should also mention this caring and interest in helping to keep me as healthy as possible. This is not a commercial. This is a poem. This is not a poem about sauerkraut. It's about love. How it works, how it shows up in your life. If you pay attention and find the right person to dance and sing with, even if you don't have a license to dance or sing, you should also know that this person did not stay in my life very long. If it was a movie, there would have been a happy ever after ending, fade out. But life, of course, is not a movie. And love, love is confusing. And it's more than boobies, sauerkraut. But we can still hope and dream and believe completely in love. Or at least in boobies. Couple more and then a grand finale. On our walk today. It's a quote, begins with a quote from William Carlos Williams. If they give you lined paper, write the other way. On our walk today, we noticed the red buds about to burst from the berry bushes, the flying waves of dozens of swallows filling up on late afternoon insects silhouetted on the deep blue sky just above one of my favorite mature willow trees. Oh, the cloud shapes were beautiful. She was walking in these wetlands with me for the very first time. We were looking forward to watching the second half of the film Patterson. I had seen the quirky little film before. She had not. She, like I, enjoys the actor Adam Driver and small, quirky films. I'd been meaning to take her on one of my favorite local walks, but the weather had not cooperated for several weeks. Just before the walk, something pretty amazing happened. I write amazing because of everything revealed in what happened and how it further deepened our connection. We stopped by my place and I pulled the selected poems of William Carlos Williams from my shelf. He is very much a part of the film Patterson we are watching. And Caroline wanted to read a few poems of his. She looked at the book and was convinced it was the book she used to have. The book opened right up to a poem, her favorite poem, the one about the plums, called This Is Just to Say. She gasped, asked me to read the poem twice. She was surprised to find out it was also one of my favorite poems. This sort of thing is happening a lot. And then on the walk, we observed a beaver just a few feet away. She had not been this close to a beaver, watching for several minutes. We watched this beaver nibbling on wild grasses just a few feet away from us. We noticed another beaver a few yards away, and then yet another. In all, we saw 7 different beavers, the entire brood of beavers that were living in these wetlands. I'd never seen so many beavers on a walk in my life. Okay, I said, this is really something. Yes, she agreed. Wow. I squeezed her hand as we continued our sunset walk. She asked, did I really say wow? Maybe, I said. Three's in the fry. opens with a quote from Donald Hall. Third things are essential to marriages, objects, or practices, or habits, or arts, or institutions, or games, or human beings that provide a site of joint rapture or contentment. Three's in the fry. 1. It is that third bird that waits, watches, and the third human watching the birds, noticing crows are in groups, ravens are in pairs. The couple, 2 as one, some pretend, but better it is 2 as in 2 perspectives, creating the third thing, the love that makes both bigger, stronger, better. 2. Turn from bric-a-brac box into the gallery. The paintings gathered in threes, not by artist, not always by subject or style, but by, yes, games, puzzles, tones. These 3 use dark blues, those 3 of the sea. These have 3 objects in each work, 3 portraits of art collectors, and reflected in the glass, it is Caroline. I need help, Alex! Alex! Woo! Do you have the instrument of...
The instrument of destruction.
Yes! Excellent.
Yes.
We'll warm up with a couple of poem starters. Yeah, that's okay. Poem starter 1507. It is in the imperfections, the best of us. Sing out. Alex, try not to dislike yourself so much that you don't trust people who seem to like you. Not all manure is the same. Ask the tomato. I'm a fast learner and a faster forgetter. Attention is a longer word than span. Are you ready for the go? They say the first line of the blues is always sung a second time. Why is the first line of the blues always sung a second time? I'm drinking to forget. I'm dying of regret. I'm trying to forget you all of the time. Oh, the wolf's howling at the moon. Cat's scratching at my door. Oh yeah, that wolf is a howling at the moon. Not gonna open that door. Trouble swooping down all too soon. This is the blues and this is not the very first line. So why am I repeating it a goddamn second time? Time to draw the curtains. Don't need to see any sign. If you hear the wolf howling at that moon, means a cat scratching at your door. Let the wolf keep howling. Damn cat keeps scratching some more. Trouble's come to swallow me up real soon. Talking about a bad woman for a bad, bad man. Trouble gonna swallow me up real soon. This here room be for rent for too long. Be long gone by the end of this here song. Old Rob Johnson sick to devil on me, disguised as a mean ornery woman. Trouble gonna swallow me up real soon. Be leaving this once happy home. be long gone by the end of this song, by the end of this sorry poem. They say the first line of the blues always repeats the second time. And I know why the first line of the blues always repeats the second time. Yeah, now I know why the first line repeats the second time. Gives a man a chance to write another line. Possibly put off paying for his crime when he knows his goose is cooked and that noose is nearby. Yeah, know why the first line of the blues repeats a second time? Oh, it's not gonna be good, not gonna be fine. But the man's got a chance to think up another line. Okay, one more.
One more of this, different key.
Yeah. Do we have a different key? Yeah. No, let me hear it again. Oh, okay. Okay, go. Let's see, before I do that, should I torture it a little bit more? Let's see.
It does this to me.
Before I do the last poem, just to torture you, here's one. Not a Van Morrison tribute poem. Poets should never listen to Van Morrison when they're trying to write. Trying to write poetry. They shouldn't listen to Van Morrison when they're trying to write poetry. Poets shouldn't fall in love when they're trying to write. Lying and crying, trying to write, They shouldn't fall in love when they're trying to write poetry. Poets shouldn't think too much when they're trying to write, struggling to write, forcing themselves to try and write. Not Van Morrison. Falling in love, thinking too much, struggling to write poetry. Alex, they shouldn't. Okay, let's wrap things up. You ready?
I'm high as a kite.
Okay, try again. Let's go.
It's oxygen. Best thing going.
I like dead poets. I don't have to be nice to dead poets. If I'm bored with their poems, I can close the book and stop reading. They will never know. They do not ask me what I think of their poems. I don't have to give a drunk dead poet a ride home. They won't vomit in my car. They don't need cab fare. I've not been stuck with a dead poet's bill. Alex, I've not had to make excuses for a dead poet's behavior. Robinson, a dead poet, has never stolen a phrase or idea from me. I like dead poets. Dwayne, someday, I will be a dead poet too.
Yes!